This is the first video in a series about the emotions that old school Monster Hunter made me feel that the newer games don't, or at least not nearly as well. But the purpose of this series is less about complaining and more about offering detailed ideas on how to bring back those feelings better than ever in much more marketable ways than were implemented in the past. The first several videos will be all about how old school Monster Hunter made me feel fear, and how that fear could be brought back better than ever, which I think is extremely important, because conquering a monster that you are afraid of makes it feel like you are conquering that fear, and that is a much more powerful feeling than simply overcoming a struggle. The topic of this video is the fear of healing. Healing was much scarier back in the day because the longer sheathing animations and less instantaneous item bar often created a greater distance between you and your healing items. And when you actually healed, the stationary and uncancelable commitment left you very vulnerable. But the punishing lack of believability in the stationary animation, along with the mandatory flex, took some players out of the experience. Nowadays, there is much more believability, but much less fear, now that we can sheathe faster, move while healing, and evade out of the drinking animation. Combine this with incredible amounts of inventory space for easy to obtain and hoard ingredients and endless restocks that allow for practically unlimited max potions, which are consumed a lot quicker than mega potions, and now you have a game where most of the tension a player can feel while healing is gone. The last issue is that throughout Monster Hunter's history, there have been too many different healing items. Herbs, potions, mega potions, health flutes, first aid med plus, max potions, easy max potions, ancient potions, and more niche ones like Astera jerky, sushi fish, life powders, dust of life, and so on. Though the niche ones are fine. When new players are told that this is a demanding game, learning and keeping track of all these can be overwhelming, even though experienced players know that most of this is just breadth, not depth. The beginning of my ideas on how to address a lot of these problems would be to get rid of most of the non-niche healing items and just keep 4. The first 2 I will talk about are a new take on herbs and potions. Herbs will heal around 25 to 30 HP, and when you consume a herb, there would be an initial animation of maybe 1.5 seconds of you opening the container and popping the first one in your mouth, which is when you start to heal at a very slow 15 HP per second. But after that 1.5 seconds, additional herbs can be popped into your mouth very quickly, one after the other, with only 0.2 seconds in between each one. The herbs are chewed, one after the other, maintaining that slow 15 HP per second. You can run, roll, and even fight while healing as you chew them. It should be fast, easy, and quite tempting, but if you take a hit larger than a flinch, then you will spit one or more out. I'll talk more about restocks in another video, but for now, my ideas are operating off the assumption that at some point in the game, there will be no restocks of healing items, and that healing items would be provided at the beginning of the hunt and can be gathered on the map. The provided herbs alone should be enough to get you through the majority, if not all, of low rank, and serve as a very easy to understand baseline to get new players acquainted with the game by encouraging them to focus up and possibly hold back a little to allow their HP to safely rise, but not forcing them to stay out of the fight. But the limited supply would eventually make it necessary to use my proposed potions, which would heal around 65 HP per drink, and are crafted by clicking on the potion icon in either your radial menu or item bar. Crafting a potion uses 3 herbs and 1 honey, resulting in 1 potion that is consumed in thirds. Since each third heals around 65 HP, every herb that you have can either heal a little with minimal inconvenience or heal a lot just a bit slower and riskier, with the animation costing 0.5 seconds to combine the potion, 1.5 seconds to open the jar, then 1.5 seconds to drink, and a final 0.5 seconds to close the lid. When drinking this new potion, you can move and roll to cancel, but if you roll in the 2-second window between the jar opening and closing sound, which will be denoted by the lid being off or on the potion icon, then you will have a 50-50 chance of spilling your entire potion, making drinking from a full potion much scarier than drinking the last third. And while it doesn't make perfect sense, I would make it so that only rolling, not taking damage, causes you to spill the entire potion, and taking a hit only wastes the remaining third of what you were drinking. Thus, the decision is completely on you, whether or not you consciously decide if avoiding a hit is worth the risk of spilling the contents of your potion jar. There's a bit more to the potion than that, and I will get to it in this example, but I wanted to show you diagrams that really express the potential of fear from healing items in the games. You don't have to remember all these, because I'll explain it as it goes, but to start, purple represents the fear of poison, specifically at low health, which is simply the measurement of time between the button press and when you actually see green health, which is indicated by the green line. As you see, drinking World's Potion is the least scary, as it starts to heal you in 1 second, while an Old School Potion or Max Potion, as well as pre-combined New Potion, allows for half a second more tension. However, if a player did not combine their New Potion beforehand, then there is an additional half-second gap between danger and safety, and using a different item may be the difference between success and failure. The green line is simply a measurement of the time it takes to heal. The sooner it goes from the bottom to the top, the faster. The Old School Potion is instantaneous after 1.5 seconds. Thus, in this regard, World's Potion actually has a slightly higher potential for fear, or at least, all things equal, is more likely to get you carded if you can't roll away. The yellow to red spectrum is simply a measurement of the likelihood of fear in each moment during a specific heal, which I will cover more thoroughly in a moment. These double corner borders indicate that you cannot roll, or these single corner borders indicate that rolling carries extra risk. And blue just means that that part of the animation is skippable, like in World, where the mouth wiping animation costs 1.5 seconds, but this can be reduced to a 1-second roll after you drink it. Or for a new potion, you can combine a potion before you are even in danger and save half a second in the heat of the moment. So point by point, the old potion has a high likelihood of being scary at the beginning, because you know you are committing to 3.5 seconds of immobile vulnerability. That tension can build as you hope for the heal to kick in before you take a hit to cushion the blow, but then, the last 2 seconds of the animation are noticeably longer than the first 1.5, as you might desperately be mashing the roll button, hoping to get away from an incoming attack. There is almost no feeling of commitment from World's Potion, other than a feeling of mild inconvenience if you waste the potion by rolling shortly after the first second. But there actually is more potential for fear at the start of the heal than the Old School Potion, because your heal doesn't happen instantaneously. All else equal, if you cannot roll to safety, then you are more likely to card in the first 3.5 seconds of pushing the button. But difficulty, max potions, and mobility are not equal, so this is rare. And I think the real emotional downfall is that the Old School Potion and my New Potion have much more potential for rising tension that pulls you into the moment, whereas World's tension is minimal and gradually fades, making for a long, slow, boring heal. And if you say that this is good because it encourages you to use speed eating, thus rewarding preparation, then I would say that 1, once you have access to max potions, that is mostly irrelevant, and 2, going from slow and boring to not as slow and boring is not as rewarding as just being scary and exciting in the first place. Then with the newly proposed potion, your preparation by combining beforehand rewards you with half a second less tension between you and health, which is especially beneficial when poisoned. Then, there is a slight growing fear in the first 1.5 to 2 seconds, where you pay attention to see if you need to roll away consequence-free before you've committed to opening your jar, where for the final 2 seconds of the healing animation, you can spill the remainder of your potion if you roll. All of this rising tension preparation, and consciousness of your potion's fullness will make the game much more immersive. But I'm not done. Notice how all of these healing animations have pre-drinking and post-drinking time commitments, which are great for tension when in combat, but potentially frustrating and emotionless time wasters when out of combat. Well, check this out. You can drink the entirety of one of these potions in one go, where combining it can take half a second if you haven't done so already. Opening the jar takes 1.5 seconds. Each third takes 1.5 seconds, and closing the jar half a second. Thus, a practically full heal of 195 HP can be achieved in as little as 6.5 seconds. Compare that to achieving a full heal from Mega Potions in prior games. The old games took 10.5 seconds, and World takes a staggeringly long and boring 15 to 16.5 seconds if you didn't have max potions, which only take 3 seconds. Though I don't want to oversell this, so I will say that while it is somewhat rare to need to drink 3 Mega Potions in a row, that if you did try to heal with a potion that was only 1/3 or 2/3 full, that you would need to recombine and drink again, totaling 9 seconds to drink 3, but still, that's less than these guys. Finally, the other 2 remaining healing items I would have are basically a repeat of herbs and potions, just upgraded. Special herbs can heal about 65 HP, which is identical to max potions if eaten straight, but they can be eaten exactly like herbs, meaning 1.5 seconds for the first and 0.2 seconds for each one chained after, except healing at a rate of a whopping 65 HP per second rather than the herb's 15 HP per second. Or one of these special herbs can be combined with 2 honey to create 1 max potion, which heals exactly like World, 1.5 seconds to take effect, and 1 to 1.5 seconds for an after animation. But the catch is that you will have a limited supply provided at the beginning of the quest, and only have a small chance to gather them from the same gathering locations where you would find herbs. And in this game, all herb and potion items eventually expire daily, thus you cannot hoard them. This way, you can actually create long-term and moment-to-moment strategies for your healing, making fast, familiar, and lower-tension hunts even faster and more rewarding by highlighting your growth in terms of skill and game knowledge. It will make healing up out of combat less tedious. Most importantly, for longer hunts, the healing animations will provide a spectrum of organically fluctuating moments of tension, weight, and significance to first-time hunts where you are unfamiliar with how long it will take you to bring down the monster. Alright, I just wanted to add 2 things before finishing up. First off is, of course, that all of this will need gameplay testing. Maybe herbs and potions heal too much, I don't know. I can't mod the games and try. I'm just trying to offer a foundation to build off of. And second, I've had a realization after recording this, that because I had already adopted the video gamey logic of Monster Hunter using menu navigation rather than animations when combining items, that I didn't realize how absurd it would be to open a jar, throw in herbs and honey, and close the jar in half a second, while taking 3 times as long to just open the jar. So I'm updating my proposal. Now, pressing the heal button on an empty jar causes you to take half a second to throw in 3 herbs and a honey, or pressing the heal button on a jar with any potion left in it causes you to vigorously shake your jar for 1.5 seconds to activate the settled ingredients. And at the end of the 1.5 seconds, if you didn't cancel, then you open the jar and drink for 1.5 seconds. If you keep pressing or hold down the button, then you continue to drink for an additional 1.5 to 3 seconds per charge, and then it takes 0.5 seconds to close the jar. You could even have some smarter predator monsters take notice when you're shaking the jar, and try and attack you unless you do it behind their back, or you turn your back to them, or hide in some bushes. Alright, video's over. Bye.